Golden Bruise Pod. My name is Bishan, out in Delaware. We got my brother Harry. Appreciate you guys joining us.
Hey everyone, we are back again. It's been 3 months almost since episode 10. So yeah, it's we can get into details of what happened, but things happen in life, and we're just kicking things off again. So I'm excited to be back. I think there's so much to cover. So many things have happened in the last 3 months. Obviously, we won't jump into all of those things because everyone's kind of up to date on those things, right? We got new Super Bowl champion Eagles, right? We didn't cover that, which would have been great, but oh well. And yeah, there's just right now we got March Madness, the NBA is getting close to the playoffs, so teams are starting to lock in. We got the NFL draft coming up here soon at the end of the month. We are already in April, and
Crazy.
The
Crazy.
49ers, man. You're going to talk about the Niners. They are just, well, I mean, they're gutted. So we'll get to all that. Let's talk. I guess, where do we start, Bishan?
I think some of our fans might think that we were in witness protection, as other San Francisco 49ers fans might have been in the past few months. And you're completely right. So just
Yeah.
kidding, guys.
Yeah. We are, we are. I think we've all, as 49er fans, kind of just been down and out,
Yeah.
not happy with what's, transpired in the offseason thus far, but everyone's looking forward to the draft. So,
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
we'll talk about it a little bit later. Let's jump into a couple other things first.
Cool. March Madness, right? It's going on right now, and we have our Final Four. Do you want to
Yeah.
break down the teams and the matchups?
Yeah, man. It's been pretty wild. This thing only started like 2 weeks ago, but it just seems like so much has happened. I think the teams that are in it right now, it's just the best of the best, man. Some of the guys that we expected to be there, they are definitely there. Auburn and Duke definitely look like they were on a collision course. And I think this is the first time in me watching, is all four number one seeds are in the Final Four.
Yeah.
This is wild
So,
beyond recognition.
so no Cinderella stories this year? Anybody come close?
There's a few teams that did. Your alma mater, actually, St. Mary's. St. Mary's made it to the Sweet 16. Then they got obliterated by Alabama, and Michigan State they were a number two seed. But any Tom Izzo coach team it's like a Cinderella. Tom Izzo is just a gritty guy. You can see his personality in his players, and man, I wholeheartedly wish like they could have pulled that thing out against Auburn. I root for Auburn quite a bit. Their coach, I'm forgetting his name right now, but man, Bruce Pearl. Sorry, Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl is such a great coach. I've been watching him for more than 10 years now. He's done some wonderful things in college basketball, for college basketball. It's tough because I'm a Duke Blue Devils fan, to know that they're going to play against one another. But man, it's gonna be an awesome Final Four for sure.
Yeah. How long has Tom Izzo been coaching now? It's been
Oh,
decades.
Tom he's going on 3 decades easy for
Decades,
sure.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think 3 decades. Yeah, maybe 20, at least 20 plus years. I think he may have started in the '90s. I want to say late
Yeah.
'90s, maybe early 2000s. But yeah, he built that program, man.
Yeah.
Some of the players that have come through that system, I mean, the number one guy that comes to mind is Draymond, man. Draymond Green, just oh god, that guy's unbelievable. He's just gritty, just like Tom Izzo. You see Tom Izzo on the sidelines, and just like the look sometimes he gives the refs after a foul, or he sees his players do something, he's like,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see Cooper Flag play
Yeah.
at this level because he's arguably going to be the number one pick, right, in this upcoming draft.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's special, man. I didn't watch a whole lot of his film other than highlights, but then I got to see
Yeah.
one of the games here, and this guy, he's a playmaker. Not he makes everyone around him good. He's just not a scorer himself. He gets everyone involved, and that is special.
Yeah, he's different, man. He has the potential, depending on how everything finishes out here, to be on the Mount Rushmore of Duke Blue Devil player greats.
Who's on there? Who's on there? Is it Kyrie? Is it
No,
JT?
Kyrie ain't on there. Jay
Come on.
Williams. Jay Williams on there. Leitner, you got Leitner up there. You know what I'm saying? But I think so. Grant Hill, Christian Leitner, Jay Williams, uh, Cooper Flag. I love JJ Redick. JJ Redick was the best Duke Blue Devil player I ever saw growing up. I remember watching pretty much every single one of his games. It was, man, when I saw North Carolina Tar Heels against Blue Devils up on the schedule on the calendar, I was like, man, I circle that date every single year. That was it, man.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about JJ Redick until you mentioned him. To be honest, I hadn't seen a sharpshooter like him,
Yeah.
you know, in a very
J-
long time.
JJ Redick took a wonderful college career and parlayed into an even better NBA career, in my opinion. And now doing that on the stage of for coaching, I
Redick
think.
was above average type of player. I think, like very good role player.
Yeah, more of like a sixth, seventh man kind of thing. But I mean, he definitely he started as well. I mean, but he developed his game very well when it came to transitioning from college to the pros for sure.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay, about Duke and
Okay.
the NBA.
All right.
At the end of their careers, who's going to have a better career, Jason Tatum or Cooper Flag?
I mean, that is a difficult question to articulate. I think because right now, I mean, to have won an NBA championship, uh, to be one of the leaders of one of the greatest sports franchises in modern history, and even going back, it's tough, because Cooper might get drafted by a team that has zero lineage.
Yeah.
He could go to, and I'm not trying to throw any shade or anything on anybody, but the worst teams in the league, one of them is the Washington Wizards. And if you want to, I don't,
I mean, they're
I
fighting right now. I mean, Jazz
it,
and Wizards are literally. I mean, it's a lottery though, right? So it can.
it is a lottery. I think if he went to the Jazz, I think there's a lot more potential there. Their ownership group with the Jazz are pretty phenomenal. The things that they're doing there. Danny Ainge is there too. I think he's the president of basketball operations. He's a great
Danny
basketball
Ainge
mind.
would he'd kill to get his hands.
And also Dwayne Wade is a part owner in that franchise as well. So I think it just depends. It depends on where he's drafted. You got to be honest. Jason Tatum, you take him off of Boston and you put him on Washington or you put him on Utah. Do you think he has the same career? Let me ask you that. Thus
Yes,
far, thus
yes.
far.
I think he has more of like a SGA type of like
Okay.
sort of performance career. I think he probably gets more MVPs because he's on the Celtics. He's going up against Jalen Brown, who needs shots. He's
So
got
so you're telling me that Jason Tatum has been in the league for, I want to say 8 years, possibly now,
yeah,
right? Give or
yeah.
take, that he would have taken the Utah Jazz or the Washington Wizards to the finals and won in his first 8 years. Is that
I
what
don't
you're
think
talking
I don't think he would have necessarily taken him to the finals. I think he would
about?
have taken him deep into the playoffs.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
See, that's the thing. The ultimate goal of an NBA player isn't to win, a MVP of the league.
yeah.
If you ask Steve Nash right now, would he trade his multiple MVPs for an
Mhm.
NBA title? I can almost guarantee that he would say yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think
Jason Tate.
yeah, individually what I mean is statistically, I think Jason Tatum would perform a lot better.
Of
Uh,
course.
even though he already is. I mean, he's still coming in like top 5 in the MVP voting.
Yeah.
You take him away from the Celtics, right? Who have like players at every position that shoot the ball,
Yeah.
right? If he's getting majority of the shots on his team, like a team on like the Utah Jazz, he's gonna have MVPs. I mean, he probably have like 4 or 5 by now, right? But he's he. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, he's a winner. And you
So
know, winning is everything.
It's going to be interesting to watch, to say the least. What Cooper Flag does, where he goes, even the decision. I mean, if he doesn't like where he's going to get drafted, he can always go back to university, right? I mean, he's probably getting paid right now at Duke. I mean,
I
more
think
than likely.
I'm not. I don't understand the process quite. If they declare, then he would need to.
You don't need to, if you don't sign an agent, you can always go back. So you'll be able to see who wins the lottery prior to you declaring. So
right now
but
we have the Jazz, Pelicans, Spurs, Trailblazers out west that are going to be vying for his.
you imagine the Spurs and Cooper Flag?
Oh,
Oh
Spurs are
God!
tanking right now. Spurs are
But
purposely tanking.
is it not reminiscent of Tim Duncan and what did they call David Robinson? What was his name?
Twin Towers.
No, the commit was
The Admiral.
Admiral. Oh,
Yeah,
man, that was a squad right there. So, but yeah, that it would I would welcome that. I would welcome that.
it would
All
be
right.
very interesting. 76ers is also going to be up there in that possible, chance of landing Cooper Flag. Let's keep it going. All right, so we got a lot to cover today. Let's jump into the NBA. We kind of already started, but we got a big thing that's not really, I guess, it's NBA, it's basketball, but it's also like it's drama and they're just. I mean, we're all eating this up. I'm sorry.
It's like it's the Real House Husbands of the NBA is what this is.
Oh yeah. So all right. You know what? Let me just share my screen and let's take a look at what's going on here.
You guys are gonna love this.
Okay, here we go. All right.
I'm really, really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James. One of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of basketball, number 2 in my eyes. A treasure to the game of basketball that we should and will all miss when he is gone. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. The first game of the season, opening night, the Griffies in attendance, father-son duo playing in an NBA game for the first time, an absolutely positively wonderful story. And then reality sets in. We love what we're seeing from him in the G League because that's where you belong. As you hone your skills and you get better and you legitimately earn, which I believe he has the potential to do. I am rooting for Bronny James. It would be cruel to root against him. He's a wonderful kid. I wish him nothing but the best. But he's LeBron James' son. And everybody knows what attention that brings. Molly, Doggy, put them up on the screen because I want to see their face when I say this. Right now, Bronny James is averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. You know what people are saying. You know what they're going to do to this kid. In 13 games, he has played 44 minutes. He has scored 4 points. He is shooting 1 of 16 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3-point range. How are you doing him favors? We know that he's not ready yet. And I'm saying this with compassion. I'm asking the greatest player in the game, one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball, an ambassador for this game, the face of the league, a 4-time champion, a guy that's gone to 10 NBA finals, one of the greatest we have ever or will ever see, who is a basketball savant. You know better than me, better than Doggy, better than JJ Redick, better than Rob Pelinka, better than any basketball analysis or analyst that exists. You know what these numbers mean. You know what it's going to do to your son, to people who are missing out on opportunities, that are busting their tail on other NBA teams in the G League in Europe and everywhere else, what kind of opportunity they're starving for. You're exposing your son like this?
Wow.
Yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah. So let me ask you, was he attacking LeBron James as a father?
I don't believe so. I mean, I think it comes off that way because he says father to father, you know?
Yeah.
I just, everybody knows that Bronny isn't in the NBA based on his college career, because he only played a handful of games and unfortunately had a cardiac episode during USC practice. Thank God that wasn't, something worse. But for him to come back from that, I wish that he had stayed in college longer. Eric Musselman is now the coach at USC. The man is a great motivator, especially of young men. One-time NBA coach as well. So he just didn't develop. He hasn't developed yet, and I think this rant that Stephen A. went on, it came after the Lakers had to start Ronnie in a game. And the reason being that they only had a handful of bench players, I think, at the time, because everybody was hurt or on rest, and they got obliterated in that game. So Stephen A's a little justified, I think, by what he's saying, but man, he went in hard on a kid that he's trying to figure out his way, and yeah, his dad's there helping him, but you got to cut the kid some slack, man. I mean, you got to think about it this way. What if that's your kid? What if somebody's talking about your son or daughter that way? As a father, and fellow teammate of the kid, you're gonna stand up for him, aren't you?
Yeah. At first, I thought LeBron was in the wrong because Stephen A. is not going to be the first critic that comes after Bronny James, as he's not going to be there to protect him.
Yeah.
Every single game or whenever he has, one of these really bad games and it's unfortunate, like I thought for me it was LeBron is coming after him.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, LeBron, I should say, and we should mention that LeBron confronted Stephen A. shortly after this take at a Lakers game.
Yeah.
There were some words exchanged. We don't exactly know what those words were. Stephen A. does share his take, but yeah, I think Stephen A. was wrong here. He attacked LeBron as a father, and he shouldn't have.
I can tell you what he said.
What did he say?
Keep my son's name out your mouth. 100%. That's what he said.
Yeah, just waiting for
Hashtag Will Smith. Hashtag free Will Smith, baby.
The slap that never happened. Stephen A. then went on and addressed his comments and kind of backtracked after that altercation with LeBron James. But then
go ahead.
And then he went on to double down on those comments. I want to share this. Yeah, let's have a look. Here we go.
Called me and said, "Bron, off. I'm fucking mad as hell." He wants to see you man to man. I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd flew to LA. I said, thank you. So my point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. That's all he had to say to me. Mm-hmm. Then as we speak, he says that. Let's take an example. He said what you just said. Yeah. I stand down. My bad. And not only that, I'm going to make sure I go on the air. I ain't look at it that way. That's on me. You didn't do that shit. You said you fucking with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. I was talking about you. Wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Woo. I believe that he got potential. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential to go pro. I truly believe that. It's going to be tough, but I think he can pull it off. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I was talking about your ass. Mm-hmm. You did this. Mm-hmm. You the one that had us as reporters, as a league, as an NBA franchise. All of us got to sit back and be quiet and capitulate to your shit.
Come on now.
You did that. And so when I see people talking, and I'm like, oh my God, can somebody? I mean, I know I got a show, and I know I got my podcast, but I'm like, God damn, y'all, I'm fair. I don't give a fuck who it is. It's you, it's you, it's you. It don't matter who it is. Damn it, I'm just meeting you. If somebody unfair to you, I'm going to be like, that's not fair. That's not fair. But when it comes to me, everybody get crickets. That motherfucker Stephen A. on his own. That, respectfully, excuse my language, that's fucked up. Amen. I'm on my own. When one, we know I'm right. Number two, we know the perspective that I'm coming from is real and it's authentic. Number three, he set this up. Number four, all you had to do was tell me. Listen, Kenya told me, you keep talking about, I'm bringing this up for all fun. He talked about how he approached me in Puerto Rico. I swear to God, I don't remember. I swear to God. Probably. But I know this much.
But you do.
And let me tell you what I did. I was writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer. This is from 1993 to 2010. Shit, I said, when the fuck you talking about? I called Philadelphia Inquirer. I said, I called my research, look up the archives. I want every goddamn article I wrote about Kenya Moore. I don't know what he's talking about, right? Because I'm looking at articles. I said, I knew that brother was a stud. I knew that brother deserved his money. What the Nets go? Nets ain't going no fucking back-to-back finals without you. I'm like, I know. What is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for the shit, and I found some shit where you got it. It was some shit with Byron Scott or whatever.
Yeah, let's talk about the video, though.
Yeah, so as I said before, he backtracks on his comments, goes on ESPN, kind of apologizes in a way. Yeah. And then he goes on the Gilbert Arenas show and, double downs on his comments. Now he feels like as if he's entitled, right, to what he said. There's so much truth behind it, right? And I think it's mainly because people were attacking him for making those comments, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, well,
I got from that second video, I got that kind of, how like you're about to fight somebody or something, and you tell somebody, hold me back,
yeah,
hold me back,
yeah,
it's kind of like that. And my goodness, that's the first time I saw it. I'll be honest with you, and that's not AI generated or anything, right?
No. That's real. That's on the Gilbert Arenas show.
Goodness, that is wow.
Yeah,
wow. That is deep right there. I think there's something more to this story, because I think LeBron may have followed that up with something else. I think he may have followed it up with something, and that's where Stephen A. is his own brand. Right, and he's not one of these people that can back down, because he's gonna hurt his own brand and he's gonna hurt his own pocketbook. So I think for him to carry that on, he had to have a rebuttal, and oh man, did he ever!
Yeah, let's share that now. Yeah, LeBron James joined the Pat McAfee show. And McAfee. Sorry. There we go. All right. And you know, it's crazy because LeBron normally doesn't join these sort of talk shows, right? I mean, he does his podcast. So this is really interesting that he jumped on
Yeah.
this and, well, he gave his take. I think that's what he was trying to do here. He was trying to address the Stephen A stuff. So here we go.
Yep.
Which leads obviously to you and Stephen A. Hey, legit, that feels like a moment that had been brewing for a long time.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're watching it.
Yep.
We're all,
oh yeah.
we're all, you're seeing it as well. It's,
No, he literally, it started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. Since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Man, on fire. You would be not to
Motherfucker,
talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you can address it, it's your ass. Like seriously, it's and like another, he completely like missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players, and I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about him again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get it. You're right.
Dude, relax, bro.
Oh
Relax. Seriously.
Oh man.
This is box office, man. My God, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Look, Bronny grew up with his dad being the face of the league.
Yeah.
And constantly being criticized for, winning, losing, all of it, the comparisons to MJ. I mean, LeBron's whole career has been, criticized, right?
Yeah.
And Bronny he knows what it's like, I mean, obviously vicariously living through his father.
Sure.
But now now it's him. Now he's on that pedestal, right? People like Stephen A, who want to continue to talk about LeBron's legacy, are bringing him into those conversations, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Bronny is responding, right? He's responded to tweets online, right? Regarding this, back and forth, calling out Stephen A not being a actual basketball player, right? He's never played in the league before, so and he's talking about it. So but Stephen A, he's great for these takes, right? That stuff doesn't matter. But what Bronny is doing in the G League, he's playing, right? He's playing really well, and that at some point is going to translate to the actual NBA, right?
Yeah, it's a hope. That's the hope.
You see the potential. It's one thing if he's not even showing up in the G League, but he's showing up. He's putting up massive numbers. I was skeptical about him.
Yeah.
I'm starting to, change my opinion of his potential and his future.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, sure, there's nepotism in the league, right? LeBron getting him in, second round pick, he was never going to get drafted, let's be real, if he wasn't LeBron's son. But he was. Yeah. Regardless, there's going to be a spotlight on him. Stephen A is going to be the last person that comes after him. Stephen A. Smith was wrong when he did attack LeBron and how he managed his son's career. And the advice he gave him by bringing him into the league, whatever you want to call that, right?
There's that old saying, and I'm not saying that it's LeBron's a bad guy or anything, but the old saying goes is don't be. Hopefully, we're not judged by the sins of our fathers, right? And I'm not saying LeBron's ever done anything bad or malicious or anything like that. I'm just talking about the saying in itself. But for Bronny, you gotta look back a little bit. I mean, Bronny is LeBron James Jr., and that to have that name, to try and live up to the legacy of his father, because of the name. I mean, he's always going to get compared to him. I mean, even though he can't. I mean, he's standing shoulder to shoulder with him right now in the league. But you know where we're going with this. If you had to line up every single NBA player in the league, Bronny's going to be in towards the end of that chosen, right? But he's got a lot that he's dealing with, man. He first year in the NBA, constant criticism. He's I think he's 1 year removed from having a cardiac event, which that's unbelievable for someone to go through that and to still be playing at a high level at one of the biggest sports leagues in the world. I mean, that's pretty amazing in itself. So this whole back and forth between LeBron and Stephen A, I cannot wait to see the next one.
I got the next one. I got the next one. You
Oh
ready?
my God. Okay.
I got the next one. Let's
All
go to the
right.
next one. All right. Here we go.
I haven't brought up. I never brought up really and never really discussed why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service. I never really brought up or discussed why you did not attend Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame induction when that man was directly responsible for you capturing a championship for the first time in your career. I brought up none of that. I didn't bring up the fact that even though when people had asked, you had alluded to what had happened tragically to your son, and thank God he's okay with his heart condition. I didn't bring up the fact that even though you couldn't go to the Hall of Fame induction of Dwayne Wade weeks earlier, you were out of the country on business. I didn't bring that up. That's your personal business, okay? But the fact is, you wasn't at the Hall of Fame induction of a brother that's going to drastically assist to you being a Hall of Famer because he helped you become the champion that you are, and he was a big brother to you. I brought up none of these things. But LeBron James.
Wow. Like, I mean, he's getting pretty low here by.
Yeah, he's getting a personal beef here. This is he looks really bad in this last take, I think.
Horrible.
I think LeBron definitely got under his skin a little bit with his comments. But I don't know. What do you think?
LeBron was at Kobe's memorial. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's throw that out there. A lot of people didn't see him because he wasn't photographed.
Yeah.
And I think there was someone mentioned that, he had asked to not be photographed, right? Actually, it's on the here it is. LeBron was in attendance according to the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and Entertain. Okay, they all list James as among the attendees at the memorial. The LeBron James requested not to be filmed at the memorial. So, yeah, I mean, maybe people thought he was going to go up there and speak, like many others did, Jordan, Shaq, but
I think he spoke, before that first game back for the Lakers, and I think that's where he was able to get his feelings out there, and I'm sure it was a very emotional time for everybody, especially for him. I mean, I want to say that was the second year, sorry, that he was with the Lakers, and I'm sure he had developed a relationship with Kobe, and so it's understandable.
You can't attack a guy's emotions. You can't understand how he feels about
Yeah.
something, especially when it comes to somebody's, a player like Kobe. His death, right?
You can't bring up a funeral or a memorial and things that it's just not okay. I mean,
it's inappropriate. It's wrong.
It-
And I think
it
this is probably the one of his all-time worst takes. And
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
yeah, so I mean, Stephen A. tried to address these afterwards. He realized he had screwed up. I'm sure somebody at ESPN told him, like, "Hey, you've gone way too far now. You need to backpedal because there's going to be probably consequences for you if you don't." Right?
Well, yeah, because the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers, allow just the access to ESPN reporters, other people. They can revoke that at any time. I mean, if they wanted to, right? And if that gets revoked, because of comments like this. I mean, that's a big deal right there. They can just say, hey, like, we'll have any reporter out there to come to the games and they can cover. We just don't want him. They could do that. I mean, you're not. It's not a God-given right to be able to attend, a game at Crypto. It's a given right by the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into Lakers, actually the team now, right? We haven't had a chance to really discuss the Luka Doncic, acquisition. Huge, right? They're fighting for the number 2 seed right now.
Yeah.
I think they're very different than they were before in terms of when they had Anthony Davis, right? This team I think they're better without Anthony Davis, even though Anthony Davis gave them much more of a defensive anchor. But I guess, you're a Lakers fan, right? You watch this team. What's your take now? Is this team better than it was before? Do they have a better shot this year at getting to the finals?
I think, in my personal opinion, yes. One of the reasons I would say that is because every year that Luka has been in the NBA, his young career that he's had so far, he's played over 60 games. And just being available for your team is one of the best things you can do. And unfortunately, Anthony Davis, and this is no knock on him, great player, did a ton for the Lakers. They don't get the NBA championship in the bubble without him. That's hands down. He played his butt off, and honestly, hats off to him for what he did for the Lakers. But Luka is a different type of player. He is a generational talent. I think we can all agree on that. Even if you hate the guy or you hate his habits or what have you, he's different. He has this old school mentality to him. The way he plays the game, he almost plays it at like 60%. Like he kind of just slows it down a little bit. But it's just oh man, the way he just will spot up, take it, and that infectious smile that he has, or when when he knocks down a couple trays back to back, and he's just pumping his fists, and it's unbelievable. That kind of passion I haven't seen with a Lakers player in a long time. Since the Kobe days, man. There just seems like there's something in the air right now in Los Angeles that we haven't felt in a long time. I say we because I am a Lakers fan. But man, it's been unbelievable these last, I think, 6 weeks or so, however long he's been there. I watched more Laker games in the past 6 weeks than I have in the past like 3 years. Being quite honest with you.
Yeah,
So,
I think he will be a problem for the Thunder.
Yeah,
if it comes down to it. I think Luka is a problem for SGA.
Yeah. It is very, very interesting coming down to the wire here with the NBA finishing up the regular season. The storylines that are out there. Oh man, this is so much drama. This is so cool.
We are so close to getting another Lakers Celtics finals.
Oh God, wouldn't that be something? My goodness.
I'm going to a finals game. I'm going to a finals game, 100% if that happens. Obviously, Celtics will win that. 4-1 maybe. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody out in East right now that can really have a chance against the Celtics. Maybe the Cavs, but the Cavs are like, I think the last 10 games they're 5-5. They're not playing well.
They took their foot off the gas a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics have a chance to get the 1 seed. I know it's not likely, but there still is a chance. The Cavs have a pretty tough couple games to end the season. So we'll see, man. It'll be really interesting. The other thing, I don't know if you saw that Celtics were they were sold for $6.1 billion.
Oh shoot! I totally forgot. I forgot to tell you. Nobody cares.
Oh man! All right. Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. They've reset the market though. To be quite honest, $6.1 billion for a sports franchise. It makes sense because Boston Celtics, man, where they started to where they are now, they just always seem like they're in the mix. Fortunately enough, you and I have been able to experience Boston before. We were going to a Red Sox game, and I think it was just a middle of the road game on a Tuesday night, packed, sold out stadium. Those fans in Boston, they're different. They are built different. Anybody who has yet to go to Boston to attend a sports game, doesn't matter if it's the Bruins, Celtics, or the Red Sox, do it. You will not be sorry. Those guys out there are just different, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about winning in Boston. And I think this new owner, Chris Holmes, he's apparently a Boston native and a Celtics fan.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it's interesting. Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting because they're on top of the mountain at the moment, being sold. But does it change things? The Dallas Mavericks were sold recently, and they've imploded. So nothing's guaranteed, man. Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they didn't necessarily implode. I think the Dallas Mavericks have a pretty good, starting five, even without Luka.
In Nico, we trust. Dallas Mavericks fans, let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to you.
Yeah, tough. Yeah. That guy's career is going to be really interesting moving forward. It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the NFL. We got a lot of things happening. NFL free agency has kicked off. We've seen some big moves. Sam Darnold has joined the Seahawks. Russell Wilson has joined the Giants. Aaron Rodgers is still without a home, targeting the Vikings, maybe the Steelers, maybe a podcast. But yeah, I guess what are you thinking about the Sam Darnold move coming into our division, the NFC West with the 49ers?
Yeah. I like Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. That definitely seems like a good fit for both team and player. The Seahawks are definitely in a on the fly rebuild mode. I think they had kind of ran their course, with their what's their previous quarterback's name again? Why am I blanking on him?
It's sorry, I'm blanking on it now too.
Yeah, well, he's a Raider now, so
he's a Raider now. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, sorry guys. So he's been put out to pasture. No, I'm just kidding. But
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yeah. Sorry, Geno. I apologize. You actually, I picked you to, play pretty well last year, so I was wrong. But Sam Darnold, I've seen his career has been, it's kind of like peaks and valleys. His career is kind of weird. But having a resurgent year. I think the last 2 years, he played really well with the 49ers, backing up Brock Purdy, and then parlaying that into a role with the Minnesota Vikings, leading them to one of the best records they've ever had. They weren't able to get it done in the playoffs, which we all know, but I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. I just hope he doesn't do it against 49ers. Everybody else, have at him, coach. So. It's going to be interesting. Russell Wilson to the Giants. I don't know. I don't understand what the Mara family is up to right now. I think I'll be honest with you. This is what I personally think is going to happen. I don't think they're going to take quarterback, because I think they're in the Manning sweepstakes and they want to tank. So I think they're pushing for a 2026 top pick. That's my personal opinion. That's why they brought Dable back. Why would you bring Dable back? Your guess is as good as mine. You have a lame duck coach, a top pick, and you're eyeing another Manning. So that's it. I personally, I feel like Russell was a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Led the Seahawks to 2 Super Bowls. But this is his 4th team in 4 years.
Yeah.
What?
They also signed Jameis Winston.
Famous Jameis, man. Let's go. Famous Jameis is, man, that guy is box office, man.
Yeah.
He is box office. I was hoping the Niners were going to get him, but I won't even lie. I think Famous Jameis is gonna play before Russell Wilson.
I think
guarantee.
I could, yeah. I mean, if you watch the Cleveland Browns versus this Pittsburgh Steelers, the snow game last year,
Yeah.
Jameis Winston balled out in that game, and Russell Wilson did not. So
so there's very different personalities here. You have one individual who is, a little cool, that's right, Russell Wilson.
that's right.
And then you got Famous Jameis, who's just infectious, man.
Yeah.
You see that guy after they could have lost by 30 points. That guy's got a smile on his face, man.
Yeah, he's always positive.
Hey, I shouldn't have thrown that pick. I knew it was going to happen, but I did it.
He's an eternal optimist, which is something you need. Because, I mean, if you're the Giants, there is not much optimism there, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, where's he going to land?
I like the podcast idea. We might see him in Safari here in Peru or Brazil, but I just don't see how it works with either the Vikings or the Steelers, if I'm going to be honest. The Steelers have arguably one of the toughest coaches in the league in Mike Tomlin. That whole franchise runs through Mike Tomlin, and he's a no BS guy. The Vikings have, their second-year quarterback who's still considered a rookie because JJ McCarthy, he got hurt last year in training camp. So, do you want to have Rodgers as your guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be in Aaron Rodgers' head right now. Okay, so if I'm going to make a decision between the two, okay, you got the Steelers who are in the AFC, and you have to go up against Josh Allen, you have to go up against Patrick Mahomes, you have to go up against Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, who's in your division, Lamar Jackson, who's in your division. It's tough, right? I mean, you got two stud receivers, right, which is great. You have a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. You have top defense. Awesome. Great. Checks all the boxes. But the AFC's loaded, right? One of those quarterbacks is going to come out of the AFC, and it's probably going to be Patrick Mahomes every time, if not, one of the others, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or, Lamar Jackson. Or you go to the Vikings, right? Yeah. NFC, there's still a lot of question marks. Amongst the other, top teams. I look at the Detroit Lions losing literally in the first game of the playoffs. They had the best record, or one of the best records all year. And then you have the Eagles, right, who did well. They crushed the Chiefs, but can they do that again? I mean, with that payroll, I'm not sure, right? Maybe they're going to have, like a Super Bowl sort of hangover. I don't know, but I think the competition out in the NFC isn't as great. Vikings have he's going to have a stud receiver. He's going to have two good running backs. True. He's got a good O-line. He's got a really good defense.
Really good.
And he's familiar with that division.
Just piggybacking on that familiarity, he's a very vindictive person. I think he holds grudges. So to be able to play against the Pack Attack and beat them twice in a year, but the one team that I think he'd love to play against is the Bears.
Yeah,
I own you. His words, not mine. He said that to the fans.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out a crazy idea here. Okay. Aaron Rodgers joins the San Francisco 49ers. Niners trade away Brock Purdy in the NFL draft. They get more picks. They can draft a quarterback later on, but because they can't come to a decent contract number, they trade away Brock Purdy and they sign Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal.
John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan would be hitching their wagon to this guy, and I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah. They almost did. They almost did.
Yeah, they almost did, but didn't.
No.
But you're telling me, like, if it doesn't work with Purdy, I got to be honest, I don't think Kyle Shanahan can afford to not have this one work.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's run with good quarterbacks in San Francisco is a graveyard.
Yeah.
Other than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a beacon of light.
It's
right
funny.
now.
Did you recently see there was a podcast that Purdy was on where he said that he only can see 40% of the time he can visually see in front of him.
What?
Because the O line's so big and he's small or short, right? He needs to know where his receivers are, the routes they're running.
It's timing.
It's all about timing. It's like Kurt Warner, right?
Yeah, he's timing based quarterback. I know that.
It's a bit scary though. It's a bit scary though.
But that's what makes him different too. Is and he's accurate as well, right? Everything's based on timing. The 49ers are very meticulous when it comes to offense. They don't just hike the ball, drop back there, do a 7-step drop, and see what we're gonna come out with. Everything is scripted. Kyle Shanahan never coached with Andy Reid, but he's very, very similar when it comes to knowing what you're going to call in your first 20 plays or so, scripting that out. So that's kind of scary what you're saying, but knowing that that's what he does is, that's how he goes through his progressions. It's all timing based. And that's one of the things that we lost in recent years with the development of the offensive game in the NFL. It's just different. It's more of this run and gun kind of system, pistol formation, just a lot of movement and having timing based. It's a little old school. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. Another, there's been some trades during the offseason, big time receivers going to what was it? What is this? The Seahawks traded what's his name? DK Metcalf to the Steelers. Got signed a massive contract. The 49ers have Brandon Ayuk right now, who's injured, busted his knee up, but is due $100+ million. And April 2nd is the deadline where he's going to get paid. It's coming up here soon. We got about 2 days before we hit that. Do they trade Brandon Ayuk in 48 hours?
It would be very difficult. He's due a $23.6 million signing, roster bonus on that date. It's tough, especially with, him having the injury that he had. He's, the way that he plays the game, he digs deep, and to make those lateral moves, his knee's got to be 110%. So it's going to be a lot of rehab for him, a lot of work that he has to put in. So it's tough for me to say that another franchise will want to trade for a guy that his health is up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. He's coming back mid-season this year, and
all the best though. Wish him the best. To wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope he comes back better than ever. And shows all the doubters that are trying to put him on the trading block or saying he's not good enough, he's not worth the contract. Show him what's up.
And he looked rough the first couple of games.
He did.
Last year, not having a full training camp. He's not going to have a full training camp again. He's going to be coming off an injury. Yeah. I mean, he's probably not going to be himself all year next year. It's probably going to be 2 years removed before we get to see him, playing at his elite level, if he ever can get to that, given what's, happened to his knee. I don't know what's going to happen. If I think they do trade him, it's probably going to be for some day 2, day 3 picks, and probably day 3 picks, multiple. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going to want to take a flyer on that knee. NFL draft this year is really interesting. You have what they're calling, some scouts are calling a meat and potatoes class, right? Okay. Lacking elite QBs, but loaded with day 2 and day 3 talent. Does this hurt top heavy teams or reward patient GMs?
I think patient GMs is where this is going to come into play.
Yeah, you're good.
Excuse me. Sorry. The good thing about the 49ers, good and bad, they're terrible at drafting high. Really good at drafting in the meat and the potatoes. So hopefully, I really hope that they move back, they accumulate more picks. I wouldn't even mind if they pushed out of the first round, if they're able to keep slowly, meticulously moving back, if they don't trade out, they really, really, really need to address their offensive line. That's, I think, the biggest issue that they're running into right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of linebackers, defensive linemen, other needs that they have, but you can address a lot of those in the middle rounds of the draft, second to sixth in that area. But to have a bookend tackle, that's a high pick. You need you need to make this one count. Trent Williams has been the anchor of that offensive line for so long, and he's coming down to the end of the road, and he needs a support. If you can get a tackle this year that can learn from a first ballot unanimous Hall of Fame tackle, man, what else you need? What else you want?
I got a scenario. Okay, the three quarterbacks in this year's draft are
Loving your scenarios.
Shooter Sanders and Jackson Dart. Right.
Okay.
Shooter Sanders, he's Shedeur. Sorry, Shedeur Sanders is going to be most likely. He's either going to get picked in the top 5 or he's going to start to drop. And I could see a scenario where Niners have the 11th pick.
They won't take him.
You got a team like the Cowboys, like the Indianapolis Colts, the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna throw that out there because I know too is he's injury prone. They would trade up to the 49ers pick to lock that one in. Niners would then get more day 2, day 3 picks, move back, and still have that first round pick. I could see that happen. So what do you think? Do you think one of these quarterbacks is going to drop and that could possibly happen? Like, I mean, Shedeur, sorry, could have like that Aaron Rodgers free fall, right? That we saw many years ago.
The Aaron Rodgers one was it was just different. That one was there was a lot of strong quarterbacks on NFL rosters at the time. Nowadays, a team will take 2 quarterbacks in one draft. The quarterbacks are a big time necessity nowadays. So that being said, Cam Ward looks like the clear cut number 1. Tennessee's going to take him. If you go with my previous take with the Giants in the Manning sweepstakes for next year, of course Shedeur doesn't get taken. I do see there could be a slide here. Cleveland might be a team to look at. From what I've heard, Neon Dion has reiterated that he does not want his son to go to Cleveland. So that's going to be a interesting
graveyard. We call that the QB graveyard.
Yeah, interesting obstacle to overcome there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because there's some folks that say that Shedeur can slide. There's some that say Jackson Dart from Ole Miss can climb up. So where the 49ers sit at number 11, from what I've heard from other sports personalities, that could be a very, very sought after pick. It's just outside the top 10. So the top 10 money is different than the second tier, and this could be one of those shock and awe moments in the draft.
Yeah, can't wait for it. It's the end of the month. We only got like 4 weeks left before we get to see who is getting picked. So
and the draft's in Green Bay, I think, this year as well, guys. So
it's kind of exciting.
We love you, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Niners made some other big moves. They lost a lot of free agents. So Trey Greenlaw's gone, Charvarius Ward's gone, Talanoa Hufanga's gone, Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargrave, and Malik Collins. So their D line got gutted. The only person returning is Nick Bosa. Got Fred Warner. Their secondary is pretty much intact from last year, which is definitely a good sign. But is this defense going to be better than last year's defense?
It's too early to tell because we don't know who's actually going to be playing on it. I mean, right? It's pretty simple there.
Fair point.
But it really depends on the offense. If I can be, if that That's what I think. The offense drives the defense, vice versa.
Sorry, I don't mean to interject, but it's funny because through Kyle Shanahan's tenure with the 49ers, they've always had a really strong defense, and and they've relied heavily on that defense. And this is the first time where we're going to actually see the 49ers going the other way, where they're going to be relying on their offense to be more successful than the defense.
Well, I'm going to interject on that. John Lynch is one of the smartest defensive-minded people I've ever been able to watch. Not only as a player, but as a general manager. Man's quite honestly a genius. He knows what to look for when it comes to some of these guys. Early on in his tenure, he definitely didn't do a good job. Solomon Thomas, terrible pick. But this is big. This draft right here isn't only big for John Lynch, it's big for Kyle Shanahan, it's big for Jed York, and it's big for us because, hopefully we're good because our podcast depends on them.
Oh, man.
So,
yeah.
All right. But, it's interesting, man. It's almost like a fantasy draft. Remember when we used to play Madden and we'd have these fantasy drafts where we just draft a bunch of different guys? So now, going into this season, this is probably the first season in a long time that I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of question marks all over the field. If we had a big board right now and we had, our D-line, our linebackers, safeties, and corners, who do you put where?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The depth chart is bare.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be fun, exciting, interesting. I think out of the 32 NFL franchises in the draft, the 49ers have the most work to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, they spent the least amount of money in free agency this year, and they're carrying a ton in dead cap. Their free agents this year, I think, were north of $300 million in signings. So, I mean, they're gonna get a lot of draft compensation in the next coming years. So yeah, I think you're right. The draft they need to hit on. No, I mean, I would say every pick, right? That's probably not going to happen, but at least 65-70% of those picks need to hit in order for them to have a decent season next year. So we also had Mac Jones signing as a QB insurance policy, right? He signed a 2-year $7 million deal coming into the Kyle Shanahan school, right? Something that we saw Darnold come into, right? And I think this is interesting because Darnold signed for 1 year. You got Jones for 2 years. We a lot of talk during the draft when he was picked. Right? The Niners went ahead and took Trey Lance, where they were considered to take Mac Jones because Kyle really liked him. Now Kyle gets his hands on him. Let's see how this goes. How do you feel about this signing?
It seems like somewhat of a safe signing. Mac Jones was a national title winning quarterback with Alabama. He was on some of the teams. I think the team had at one point it had Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts on it. So that's a pretty awesome quarterback group, if you ask me. So there's a lot of potential with Mac Jones. God forbid something happens with Brock Purdy. I think they feel comfortable having him as the backup. So I think one of the most important positions in the NFL is backup quarterback. So I'm happy with the signing. I think they could have done worse. Brandon Allen last year. Thanks, buddy. You definitely took the cake on that one.
Is he still on the team or he's gone, right?
He did sign somewhere. I think Jacksonville.
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, whatever. I agree. He's like that one Green Bay Packers game, just terrible. Just terrible. Anyways, so let's wrap it up. I mean, I think we covered a lot today. 49ers, the March Madness, NBA. It's been, I'm sure there's so much more that we would have loved to cover. I think we'll be able to, shoot another session here maybe this week. hopefully.
Yeah.
Especially given what's going on in the basketball world, and right.
Yeah.
Love to talk more about that. Yeah, it's honestly let's keep this going, man. Anyways, no, over to you.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun as always. I feel like we were able to cover quite a bit. Episode 11. Wow, this is pretty neat. Appreciate you guys giving us the platform to talk about our thoughts and feelings when it comes to sports. Just being able to share what we have with you guys is we're very fortunate to be able to do so. Thank you everybody for continuing to tune in, subscribing, liking. It's been pretty amazing. Thank you.
All right, cool. Over and out, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode 12.
You guys.